Okay, so in video number 1 of exploring the railroad grade between Bristol and Franklin, I talked about a cellar hole and a barn foundation that was about 100 yards away from the old cellar hole. And in fact, I know now from talking to other folks and from coming back and taking a look that what I was actually looking at was the remnant of the old turntable. And in fact, it wasn't a barn foundation for the old homestead. It was the turntable foundation. And I guess I just glossed over it too quick looking at it the first time and just assumed it was the barn foundation. But now you can see very clearly, if you know what you're looking at, that it was the old roundhouse. I'll go down inside and we'll take a look. The first thing that springs to view is there is 2 levels here. There's a kind of right here, there's a level of granite and it is a distinct curve to it, and then there's another level up here at the level of the ground that also has a curve to it. And this would indicate to me that you had kind of 2 foundations. You had the perimeter foundation and then the foundation for the roundhouse, the actual mechanism that turned the table. And you can see here we're right on the edge of the river. Pretty neat, really incredible blocks of granite here that would be highly prized for landscaping. But you can see these blocks were all quarried. You can see the marks there from the drills and the feathers and wedges, pins and wedges that were used to split these pieces. Just really beautiful, incredible pieces here. But we'll sort of walk along the edge here, and you can see, hopefully you can see. You can see there's the edge there, and it sweeps around in a circle. It really kind of irritates me that I just assumed this was an old barn foundation because it was so close to the river. But it's all right. Now we know. It sweeps around in an arc here behind this pine tree. And then here again, there's more granite. So what's interesting here is the granite doesn't continue all the way around the arc. It does on the inner arc. It's covered with moss and grass and leaves and everything here on the lower inner arc. But on the you can see it better over towards the river there. Which is kind of neat. But on what must have been the approaches, I can only assume there would have been a junction down south of us, a switching junction to get off the main line and come to the roundhouse here where these pieces of granite are, and you can see steel sticking up out of it here. I'm pretty sure this would have been the approach. And then a support across the way. You can see that granite there across the way would have been the other support. And then the engine would turn around and would head back to the switch and get back on the main line and be pulling the train again instead of pushing. So this is really neat, and I can't wait for more people to see this. And hopefully soon we'll get that worked out with the Army Corps and at least have a recognized hiking trail and mountain biking, if not full snowmobile, which of course we'd love to see the snowmobiles come up into the village to get pizza and burgers and stuff like that and coffee in the wintertime. So that would be great. I really can't tell you how irritated I am at myself for not recognizing this initially. But, oh well. You can really see the arc now that you know what you're looking for. You can see the roundness of it, and you can see the two levels of the granite support. Oh, I almost forgot. Down here in the middle, you can see there's a block here, some sort of foundation stone that has threaded rods sticking out of it. You can actually see where that was cut with a torch back in the day when they dismantled it. I can only guess this would have been the foundation for the swivel, the big swivel joint used to turn it. So really just amazing stuff down here. I hope people get a chance to come down and take a look. And here's a good example. These pieces that were quarried are part of that lower support. They've sloughed off a little bit towards the river, but they're part of that lower support ring that goes all the way around. We'll get up here on the flat. There's a rod there, metal pipe. Now we know what we're looking for. We really can keep an eye on things, and every little depression you investigate. There's a little depression in the ground. I'm not sure if there was anything going on there, but really neat. What I'll do is I'll walk this angle back towards the main line and see if I can find where the switch would have been, and we'll tape that if I find it. So cool. Come down and enjoy it. Beautiful view of the river, and let's be safe and enjoy yourself, and get out and enjoy nature. Thanks for watching. Just a little addendum to the video about the turntable. I'm on this little neat plateau that's above the turntable. I don't know if you can, that orange flag down there is someone hung is where the turntable is, or behind it, I should say. I'm sorry, no, it's a little further. It's a little further north, not too far, within sight distance of here in the river. Anyways, I got distracted. This really neat plateau, and I'm sure it was leveled off at some point historically, and maybe not 100% natural, but I don't see a cellar hole up here. But really neat ecological site. Little forestry lesson. White ash, which many folks know is in trouble from the emerald ash borer, and in fact there are trees down here that have the borer. It's just a matter of time we're going to lose these ash trees, which is kind of too bad. But white ash, although you'll find it most anywhere, likes to be on an enriched site, and by that I mean at the base of a slope where nutrients, gravity brings those nutrients down the slope, and they settle in the fertile soils at the base of the slope. White ash just loves a site like that and thrives. This is exactly one of those sites. You're looking up at the big hillside there, and as it comes down and sloughs off, and all of that rich fertile soil is here on this flat, and it's just loaded with white ash. Some, like this one, is a very old tree. Scale is always hard to see on videos and pictures, but maybe we'll see if we can do a quick selfie here. You can see how big this tree is. I can't see the screen, so we'll know how that turned out. But this ash tree is about 3.5 feet through at chest diameter. Just massive, and would have been open grown back in the day. These smaller trees are second generation from that, but really just a neat ecological site here. I mean, it's nothing rare. but you don't see it all the time, so it is pretty cool. Another nice ash tree there. Just some, and there's a sugar maple. There's another one, beautiful sugar maples. A really telltale situation of ash growing on an enriched site. So, hope you enjoyed the little forestry lesson. We'll talk to you later. So we're almost back at the park. There's the bridge going to New Hampton. The river's right here. It's running pretty good this morning. And just want to talk about this elevated granite run up through here. Lots of folks think this might be for old buildings and stuff, but or the elevated rail line. But if you look at the old pictures, actually the rail was right here on the river. I mean, the rail line was right on the edge of the river here. And if you see old pictures, you actually see the water right at the level of the rail line during one of the floods. So the old water street that comes down from Central Street actually came all the way down, you know, a couple hundred yards south of the junction of the rivers, and that's what that elevated piece is with the granite. It's where the old town road came all the way down here and ended about where I am. And if you see some old pictures, you see a fence line between the road and the rail line. And as you get a little closer towards the station, you see some foundation works where they actually had a separate, not a station in terms of stop, but they called it the cargo station, or the freight station, I should say. They called it freight. And so this would have been a siding where they unloaded all the freight from the train after the passengers got off. You can see a retaining, there's a retaining bolt there to hold that from sloughing off. There's another one right there. They would have put that in and secured it to a piece of bedrock or another piece of big granite on the other side. You can see the tool marks on that granite piece. Really just a lot of work and effort to build this. And it's only operated for a relatively short time. But yeah, so now we're getting to the freight area where they would have unloaded the freight off the trains. You can see some retaining pieces there and old timbers. And as we get closer to the park, you can see, you know, this area gets explored a little bit more, so there's more pictures and stuff for this. But you can see those bits there. There would have been for like unloading like loose material, and they would have stored loose material in there. There probably was a building above it, but this is the old freight area. And actually, I'm sorry, no, those bits there actually elevated the old road, and it actually ties in to the pathway now, and ties into the flat where the next section of elevated road is. So that would have been a foundation. They would have had some beams going across there, a little bridge. That would have been the road foundation, which is kind of neat. And here you can see some, unfortunately, tires and garbage, because people sometimes aren't the best. Actually a little bit of garbage, and there's a skateboard in there. But here's something. I mean, they must have had like a water pipe or something. Maybe they had a water pipe for the train here. But really neat stuff. And of course, all the invasive knotweed, which unfortunately is all on the government property, and I doubt that they'll do what's needed to take care of that. But, oh well. This bittersweet root here. You can see how that gets up the trees. It's really quite amazing to strangle out these trees, but just a gnarl of bittersweet root. You can see how they climb the trees and choke it out over time. Really kind of neat, but discouraging at the same time. Okay, folks, thanks for joining.